You've been lied to. Your entire life, you've been fed a story so carefully crafted, so widely accepted, that questioning it feels almost rebellious. It's the story of retirement, the golden promise at the end of the rainbow. Work hard for 40 years, they said. Sacrifice your youth, your energy, your time. And then, at 65, you'll finally be free. You'll finally live. But here's the uncomfortable truth, that's not freedom. That's a postponement of life itself. Before we dive deep into this reality check, if you're ready to challenge everything you've been told about success, freedom, and what it truly means to live on your own terms, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Because what we're about to discuss isn't just motivational fluff, it's a complete paradigm shift that could change the trajectory of your entire life. Now, let's talk about the biggest con of modern society. The retirement illusion. Picture this, you're 22 years old, fresh out of college, full of dreams and possibilities. Someone hands you a contract, the social contract of modern life. It reads, give us the best 43 years of your life. Give us your energy, your creativity, your peak physical and mental performance. In return, we'll give you a few decades at the end, when you're tired, when your health is declining, when many of your dreams require a vitality you no longer possess. That's when you'll be free. You'd laugh at such a ridiculous deal, wouldn't you? Yet millions of people sign this contract every single day without reading the fine print. The retirement model was invented during the Industrial Revolution, a time when most people didn't live much past retirement age anyway. It was a system designed for an era when physical labor destroyed bodies, when there was no concept of fulfilling work, when jobs were soul-crushing mechanisms of survival. The idea was simple, work until you physically can't anymore, then rest until you die. But you're not living in the Industrial Revolution. You're living in an age of unprecedented possibility, where you can create, connect, and contribute in ways your great-grandparents couldn't imagine. Yet you're still operating under their outdated playbook. The lie isn't just that retirement equals freedom. The lie is that freedom is something you earn through decades of sacrifice rather than something you design into your life right now. The lie is that your most vibrant years should be spent building someone else's dream while you defer your own. The lie is that time is unlimited, that you'll have the same energy at 70 that you have at 30, that experiences don't have an expiration date. Ask yourself this, how many 70-year-olds are backpacking through Southeast Asia? How many are learning to surf, starting physically demanding hobbies, or staying up all night experiencing the energy of youth? Some do, certainly, but for most, those opportunities have a window, and that window is now, not 40 years from now. The mathematics of a wasted life. Let's do some brutally honest math together. If you work from age 22 to 65, that's 43 years. Assuming you work a standard job, you're giving away at minimum 40 hours per week. But it's really more than that, isn't it? Add the commute, 10 hours a week. Add the time you spend stressed about work, preparing for work, recovering from work, another 10 hours. You're looking at 60 hours per week consumed by employment. That's 60 hours times 52 weeks times 43 years equals 134,160 hours of your life. If you sleep 8 hours a day for those 43 years, that's 125,580 hours sleeping. You have 753,960 total hours during those 43 working years. You've just allocated 259,740 hours to work and sleep. That leaves 494,220 hours for life, except many of those hours are spent on necessities, eating, personal care, household duties. Here's the gut punch, after you subtract everything, you're left with maybe 150,000 hours of truly free time spread across 43 years. That's about 8 hours per day to live, love, create, explore, and become who you're meant to be. And even those 8 hours, you're often too tired, too stressed, or too financially constrained to use them fully. Then retirement arrives. If you're lucky enough to live to 85, you have 20 years left. That's 175,200 total hours, but now you're older, likely dealing with health issues, with less energy, with a body that can't do everything it once could. This is the exchange you've been told is fair: give us your best years, and we'll give you your declining years in return. Does that math still look appealing? The prison of deferred living. You've internalized a phrase without realizing how toxic it is: someday. Someday, when I retire, I'll travel the world. Someday, I'll write that book. Someday, I'll learn to paint, to dance, to live without an alarm clock dictating my existence. Someday, I'll spend quality time with my family. Someday, I'll finally be happy. Someday is a prison with invisible bars. Every time you say, someday, you're making a bet. You're betting that you'll still be alive. You're betting that you'll still be healthy. You're betting that your passion for that dream won't have faded after decades of postponement. You're betting that the people you love will still be around to share those experiences with you. How many people have you known who retired with grand plans, only to spend their first year of freedom fighting cancer? How many saved everything for that dream trip, only to find that their knees couldn't handle the hiking they'd imagined? How many waited to spend time with their children, only to find that their adult kids were now too busy with their own deferred living plans? The tragedy isn't just in what you miss. The tragedy is in who you never become. When you defer your dreams, you don't just postpone experiences, you postpone growth, learning, and self-discovery. The person who wants to learn guitar at 30 will learn differently, and perhaps better, than the person who starts at 70. The person who travels the world in their 30s builds a worldview that shapes their entire adult life. The person who waits until retirement to travel sees the world through different eyes that have already been formed by decades in one place. You're not just delaying experiences. You're delaying the version of yourself those experiences would create. What freedom actually means. Let's redefine freedom, because the retirement model has corrupted the very concept. Freedom isn't the absence of work. Many people are miserable in retirement because humans need purpose, challenge, and contribution. Freedom isn't having nothing to do, it's having the power to choose what you do. Real freedom is autonomy over your time. It's waking up and deciding how your day unfolds based on your values, your energy, your curiosity, not a boss's demands or a corporation's schedule. Real freedom is alignment between your daily actions and your deepest values. It's doing work that matters to you, not because it pays the bills, but because it expresses who you are. Real freedom is having options. Financial freedom isn't about having millions in the bank, it's about having enough that your choices aren't dictated by desperation. It's about being able to say no to things that diminish you and yes to things that expand you. Real freedom is living in the present tense. It's not sacrificing today for some hypothetical tomorrow. It's designing a life where Monday morning feels as good as Friday evening, where work and life aren't enemies but integrated parts of a meaningful whole. The traditional retirement model offers none of this. It offers a binary, slavery now, freedom later. But that's a false choice designed by a system that benefits from your most productive years, not by a philosophy that benefits your most fulfilling life. The alternative path. So what's the alternative? If not the 43-year grind toward retirement, then what? The alternative is designing a life of continuous freedom, starting now. Not in some distant future, but today. This requires a fundamental shift in how you think about work, money, time, and success. First, stop optimizing for retirement. Start optimizing for a life you don't need to retire from. This means finding or creating work that energizes you rather than depletes you. Yes, this might mean earning less initially. Yes, this might mean taking risks. But what's the point of financial security if you're spiritually bankrupt? Second, embrace mini retirements throughout your life. Why wait until 65 to take a sabbatical? Why not build a career or business model that allows you to take 3 months off every few years to travel, learn, or simply exist without obligation? You'll return renewed, with fresh perspectives and experiences that enrich your work and life. Third, redefine wealth. Stop measuring wealth solely by your bank account. Measure it by the richness of your experiences, the depth of your relationships, the alignment between your values and your daily life. Someone earning $50,000 annually while doing work they love, living in a place they cherish, surrounded by people they adore, is wealthier than someone earning $150,000 in a job they hate, in a city they tolerate, with relationships they neglect. Fourth, build multiple income streams that aren't tied to your time. The traditional model trades time for money in a linear way: work an hour, earn a wage. But you can build assets, intellectual property, businesses, investments, that generate income whether you're working or not. This isn't about getting rich quick. It's about gradually building a foundation that gives you choices. Fifth, start living now. Take that trip. Learn that skill. Spend that time with loved ones. Not someday. Today. You can be responsible and spontaneous. You can plan for the future and seize the present. These aren't contradictions, they're the balance that creates a life worth living. The mindset shift. The hardest part of rejecting the retirement lie isn't practical, it's psychological. You've been conditioned since childhood to follow a specific path: study hard, get good grades, land a stable job, climb the ladder, defer gratification, retire, then live. Deviating from this path feels dangerous because everyone around you is following it. Social pressure is real. But here's what you need to understand: the people telling you to play it safe, to wait until retirement, to follow the traditional path, most of them are miserable. They're not living their advice, they're suffering through it and trying to justify their choices by insisting you do the same. You need to give yourself permission to want more. Permission to question the default path. Permission to design your own definition of success. This isn't selfish, it's self-aware. You're not being irresponsible by prioritizing your happiness, you're being realistic about what life actually is: a finite resource that demands intentional allocation. The mindset shift requires accepting several uncomfortable truths. You might fail. Designing your own path is riskier than following the beaten one. You might try to build a business and it might collapse. You might choose a non-traditional career and struggle financially. But here's the question: is the risk of failure worse than the guarantee of spending 43 years in a life you didn't choose? You might be judged. Family members might not understand. Friends might question your choices. Society might label you as irresponsible, unrealistic, or foolish. But whose approval are you living for? At the end of your life, will you regret disappointing others, or will you regret disappointing yourself? You might not have it all figured out. That's okay. Nobody does, despite appearances. The people following the traditional path haven't figured it out either, they've just stopped questioning. Uncertainty is the price of authenticity, and it's a price worth paying. The action plan. Enough philosophy. Let's get practical. How do you actually start dismantling the retirement lie in your own life? Start with awareness. For the next week, track how you spend your time. Every hour, write down what you're doing and how it makes you feel. At the end of the week, ask yourself, how much of my time am I spending on things that matter to me? How much am I spending building someone else's dream? How much am I deferring to someday? Then, identify your non-negotiables. What do you absolutely need to be happy? Not what society says you need, what you actually need. For some, it's time in nature. For others, creative expression. For others, meaningful relationships or intellectual challenge. Get crystal clear on these, because everything else can be negotiated. Next, calculate your freedom number. How much money do you actually need to live a life you love? Not to impress others, not to keep up with neighbors, but to cover your essentials and fund your non-negotiables. You might be surprised how much lower this number is than you think. The less you need, the more freedom you have. Then, start making small moves toward autonomy. Can you negotiate remote work 1 day a week? Can you start a side project that might eventually replace your income? Can you move somewhere with a lower cost of living that frees up mental and financial space? Can you cut one expense that adds zero value to your life and redirect that money towards something meaningful? Build skills that increase your options. Learn to write, to code, to design, to market, to sell. These meta skills translate across industries and increase your ability to generate income in non-traditional ways. The more ways you can create value, the less dependent you are on any single income source. Most importantly, start taking those deferred experiences now. In small ways, if not large ones. Can't afford a month in Europe? Take a weekend road trip to somewhere you've never been. Can't quit your job to write a novel? Write for 30 minutes before work. Can't start a business yet? Start learning everything you can about it now. Your one life. Here's the final, most important truth: you have one life. Not two, not three. One. You don't get a practice round. You don't get to come back and do it differently if you don't like how it turned out. This is it. Every day you spend in misery, telling yourself it'll be worth it someday, is a day you'll never get back. Every experience you defer might never happen. Every version of yourself you postpone becoming might never exist. The retirement model asks you to bet everything on tomorrow. It asks you to sacrifice your todays for a future that's not guaranteed. It asks you to give your best years to work you don't care about, in exchange for your declining years to do what you love. That's not a fair trade. It never was. Real freedom isn't waiting at the end of a 43-year hallway. Real freedom is what you create in the daily choices you make right now. It's in the courage to design a life that doesn't require retirement because you're already living in alignment with who you are. You can start today. Not someday. Today. You can question the default path. You can redefine success on your own terms. You can build a life where work and life aren't enemies but partners. You can refuse to defer your dreams to some distant, uncertain future. The lie you were told about retirement and freedom is that freedom comes later, after you've paid your dues. The truth is that freedom comes the moment you decide to stop accepting other people's definitions and start creating your own. So what will you choose? Will you continue down the path of deferred living, hoping that someday arrives before your time runs out? Or will you have the courage to start living, really living, today? The choice has always been yours. The only question is, will you finally make it?